Welcome to the Livfiit Listens podcast, a safe space of growth, personal development, and overall wellness with your host, Olivia Catania. Diving into the realms of all things health, conscious living, mental expansion, and much more, this podcast is designed to help you evolve into your best self and live fit. Let's get into the show. What is up, party people? Welcome back to another episode of the Livfiit Listens podcast. I'm so happy you're here. Thank you for tuning in this week. I hope you guys have been doing well. I feel so proud because I'm actually sitting down to pre-record before I go on my trip. So I'm leaving to go to Canada tomorrow. I'm going on a ski trip, which I haven't been on one in probably about 5 to 7 years, somewhere within there. And I'm going to a new country for me. I've never been to Canada. So I'm very excited. Also kind of a little bit nervous just because of skiing new terrain and whatnot. I haven't been really pushed out of my comfort zone with skiing in a while. Also a little nervous about weather. I'm hoping it doesn't get too cold. But last week, their highs for the day was 2 degrees or something crazy. It's supposed to be a little bit warmer now by the time we go. But I'm just where it's going to be an adventure, to say the least. I kind of have just open expectations, not really sure what's about to be coming my way, but I'm ready for an adventure. I feel like I haven't had a trip that puts me out of my comfort zone kind of physically in this way in a really long time. So like I said, it's going to be a big adventure. So for my gratitude for today, super random, but right before this, I was eating black olives out of a can, and that's what my gratitude is today. Black olives. I hate the purple ones. Those are my least favorite, literally will make me gag. Green ones, would never eat them plain, kind of can do them in some dishes depending on the palate, the dish. Black olives, love them, haven't had them in a while, just remembered them when I was at the grocery store the other day, and I'm like, you know what? These are fantastic. So we're keeping it simple today for my gratitude. I'm thankful for some black olives. For the podcast episode of today, this was actually requested via YouTube and for a YouTube video, but I felt like it just makes more sense for me to put it in a podcast form. So today I want to talk about kind of just a recap. Thank you. A recap. I'm saying thank you to myself. A recap of 2024. Go over some highlights and kind of just some overall takeaways and lessons a little bit. And then also talk about goal setting for 2025 and what I'm actually doing to set attainable goals for this year, because I am someone who absolutely loves goal setting. I obviously love personal development, hence why I started this show. And I'm a sucker for doing some planning, being a visionary. I eat that shit up. I love it. But with that though, kind of the shadow aspect of that is that I tend to kind of over dream or overcommit myself and then bite off way more than I can chew and set all of these copious amounts of goals that really are not attainable or realistic for me. And then I end up kind of beating myself up and being hard on myself for not achieving those things. And it just is kind of counterproductive, honestly. So I really have kind of been changing my strategy this year, having just different focuses and intentions and a different strategy, just so I can actually, again, set goals that are actually attainable and can make me feel more fulfilled. Not necessarily in a make your goals smaller kind of way. I don't like the word realistic either. I'm not trying to dim anyone's light or make us play small. Just more so that's why I was intentional with the word of attainable goals. I just more so want to set us up for success so that we're actually setting goals in the sense of the greater good, where this is great for our action steps, but also mentally, where we're not putting too much on us mentally, where it's just going to have us beating ourselves up on the back end of it. You know what I mean? I feel like my intentions now are great to set me up for success kind of in all facets of the goal setting lane. You know what I'm saying? So I firstly kind of just wanted to run over a little bit of a recap in 2024. I also know this is definitely overdue. We're most definitely almost in the middle of February already. But you know what? Not everyone hits the ground running in the new year. You know what I mean? And better late than never is kind of where I'm at. We still have so much, obviously. We still have the whole year ahead of us. Okay. So anyway, for 2024 recap, I really struggled last year. I kind of feel like a broken record with this, but I really had not been that down bad in a really long time. And it wasn't necessarily like a sense of like depression. Like it wasn't like just like sad about life. I just felt so disempowered. I just had lost all hope for my abilities, like what I'm capable of. Like I had such severe imposter syndrome and I just felt like nothing was working for me. I felt like anything I did wasn't successful or wasn't good enough. And I constantly just felt like just lost in any sense of direction for my future. Like I just was lacking any ounce of clarity and it just was so overwhelming. And I also was just overwhelming like with reaching new awareness in my life of just like, oh my gosh, like there's so many different, I just feel like in my early 20s, I was kind of more simple minded. And then as I've gotten older, so many more lanes and facets of life have opened up to me, so many different possibilities. And I think it honestly was kind of a result of me gaining more awareness to all facets of life, like the light and the shadow aspects of life and things like that. And I think just kind of everything hit me at once. Anyways, I just was so down bad as the moral of my story. And I feel like it's really important to be open about this kind of stuff because I think it's so easy when something like this on social media or like when you guys are listening to me via podcast, it's so hard to remember that I'm human and like to humanize me. And I could totally see how some of you guys may put me on a pedestal. And I say that because I do that with all of like, that was a huge thing I would do really strongly with people I would watch on social media or listen to their podcasts. I would kind of like idolize them and think like, oh, they had it figured out. Like they're on a different caliber than me. And it's just so not entirely true. Like I am 100% human and normal. And I know that sounds so obvious and redundant, but I do think sometimes we lose sight of that. Like there truly is no space between you and I. I know it doesn't seem like it, but literally I'm a 25-year-old girl still living at home, recording this literally next to my bed that I sleep in every night. Like there's nothing fancy about this. I am so normal. And I just think it's really important to remember that and like remind everyone just to touch some grass a little bit that just like I am just like you, where we all struggle no matter what my resume may say on paper or whatever it is. Like just because I have this podcast doesn't mean that I still don't struggle with intrusive thoughts or imposter syndrome or things like that. And the reason why I also felt called to share this again in this episode is because the other day, I think it was actually only yesterday, I was watching a Sarah's Day vlog. She's a YouTuber and she has like a 1.5 million subscribers. And she's someone I've like looked up to for years and years and years and years. Like someone who I take so much inspiration from and just like someone who I really like, one of the few people in the world that I've seen that I'm like, yeah, like she has like the life that I would want to, most similar life that I have envisioned for myself. And her in her video, like I guess what I'm trying to say is I used to think I would always just be like, damn, like she has it all together, like she's worked through all her blocks, like she's perfect, she's dealt with everything, you know, she's done her journey and she's made it, she's good. But in this most recent vlog, she was saying how she's like, when I don't vlog for a while, I still go through these periods where I have these thoughts of like, no one cares what I have to say, who would want to watch my stuff. And in my head, I'm like, dude, you're Sarah's Day. Like, how much more outside validation can you have? Like, you get hundreds of thousands of views on your videos, you have 1.5 million subscribers, you have all these businesses you've built to completion, like all these things. And I'm like, she still feels these feelings, which is just a result of saying like, it doesn't matter what you have on your surface. It all has to do with your mindset and what you think about yourself. So I kind of just went down a rabbit hole there, but I just want to say like, it really doesn't matter where you are in life, that it really just comes down to your mindset at the end of the day. Like no ounce of outside success is going to make you feel a certain way. So if you're down on yourself because you feel like nothing's working or nothing is good enough or you're not being successful enough or whatever, like just know that those things on the outside truly don't matter anyway. They don't dictate your internal fulfillment and validation like you think that they do. It always is stemming from how you feel first, and then you can be in a place of creation. And that was a huge lesson that I learned last year, was that I really had to dig deep and really truly digest and understand and learn that like if I don't see my own worth, then the world won't. Like the only way to get the world to see my worth and value is if I see it first. Point blank, period. No ifs, ands, or buts around it. So that was a huge thing for me. And once I digested that, that's again when I really got into this creation state and like my life really changed for the better. That's kind of dramatic. I don't necessarily think my whole entire life changed within the last 6 months, but I'm just saying I think that my reality really shifted things in the second half of last year once I really digested of like, wait, I actually need to see my worth and value first. It's literally just a mindset game. Again, someone who's Sarah's Day, who's so successful, who is like literally one of the most successful people that I look up to on social media, she still doesn't feel 100 all the time. She still doesn't feel like a queen in the space all the time, because it has nothing to do with your outside. It has everything to do with your mindset. I hope that made sense. I really don't want to come across as like, it's making me think of now like years ago in the magazines when they would be like, the celebrities are just like you. Like they also shop at Aeropostale or whatever the hell it was. Like, I'm not trying to be like, don't worry guys, like I'm just like you. Like I'm not trying to put myself on a different caliber than you. Like I'm not trying to be annoying in that way. I'm just trying to say like there's people that I look up to and think that they never struggle with these things, and therefore as a result I put myself down. But my point is that we're all at the same level. By you thinking that you're not good enough, that is not the truth at all. There is nothing I have done or haven't done that makes me better or worse than you. You already have everything you need within you, and once you realize that and know it's a mindset game, that's when you can actually take your power back and get back into your creation seat. With that, kind of went on a little tangent of like a life lesson from 2024, but I think it was good to get that out because that lesson in and of itself has honestly really changed my life, except that is a lesson that I feel like I tend to forget from time to time. But I feel like I really deepened into that lesson last year, so I'm hoping I can carry that with me through life. But with that being said, I wanted to go over some highlights as well for my 2024, because again, in that YouTube comment that I got to who like requested this content piece, she was just like, I feel like 2024 was a big year for you. Like I would love to go over a recap of everything. And I do think that this will help to inspire people. It helps me, at least when I hear other people that I look up to or listen to or whatever, when I consume their content, it's inspiring to me to see like what they were able to do, because I'm like, if they can do it, I can do it. Like she's another human just like me. So I really just want this to serve as inspiration, like I'm saying, and for you to know what's possible, and really just as proof of how much this work really can work, of working on your mindset and digging, and changing, shifting things internally, just for proof that those internal shifts really can directly dictate your external reality. So again, this is not meant to be for comparison. This is not meant to make you feel like crap about yourself. Absolutely not. This is for inspiration and just to show you that how your life really can shift as a result of internal shifts. So first thing, I started working with Livfiit, which is absolutely insane. Officially joined the team with them. That has been my biggest dream since like 2019. Honestly, I still am like in disbelief when I get a package from them showing up at my door. Like absolutely nuts. The fact that they know who I am, let alone that I'm like working with them and like having clothes before they even launch. Nuts. Absolutely nuts. And actually my first contract with them is already coming up to a close in a few months, which is crazy. So it's just crazy it's just crazy that I've been in this much disbelief throughout our whole contractual term at this point, but I'm so entirely grateful. And that was like, again, one of my biggest ever manifestations in the fitness space, my biggest goals and dreams. So insane. Second thing, these are also in no particular order. They're just kind of random. I lived in Bali for a month, which was nuts. Indonesia was a new country for me. I'd always dreamed about Bali. 15-year-old me would think I'm the shit. She would think I'm so cool. And I was really able to dig deep into the island and experience more of it and explore it. So love that I was able to go there for a month. I'm so proud of myself for that. I launched my first wellness challenge PDF, which had been a goal of mine for the past 3 years. So that was huge that I finally got that out. It was kind of another little mini source of passive income for me. I ran my third successful women's wellness retreat, which had 15 beautiful women there, which was incredible. That was also in Bali. If you're interested in coming on my next one, stay tuned. It's going to be launching very soon. But I also got sponsors for that retreat as well. So I was able to supply goodie bags for all the girls, which was something that I wasn't able to do for the first 2 trips. So that was something I felt so proud of, and it was just made it feel like a really cool experience. Next one was that I did my second ever surf camp. I did that in Bali. And I really pushed my comfort zone with that in terms of the waves that I rode and just how big that they were and just everything. I really pushed myself. I went down to a shorter board even. Again, I was surfing bigger waves. And I just went out in breaks that made me feel really uncomfortable, where there was no clear channel to paddle out in. there was just a moment where I literally was like trying to tell one of the coaches, like, I'm not going out there, like, I'm too scared. And then I eventually just went out and paddled with them, which was huge. I also was even able to surf. I forget, like, I don't know what the actual term is, but like where you basically boat into a surf break. So we had to get on a boat and drive out to a specific surf break that you couldn't like paddle out to from shore. That was so sick. I felt like I was in a surf movie. Okay. And with that, I also surfed. So I surfed in 2 new countries last year. So I surfed in Bali, and then I also surfed in the Dominican Republic. And then I also surfed while I was in Hawaii. So 3 times surfing in 1 year is actually a record for me. I've never surfed that much in terms of like chunks of surfing. I signed with a podcast management company. Absolutely huge, came out of left field. I'm so grateful for them. They're really helping with like the business back end of the show, even now helping me with like getting podcast clips out and things like that, the marketing growth of the show, like so incredibly thankful. I don't have help with anything I do other than my retreats. So I'm just like so incredibly grateful for that. And that was just like a really cool moment for me and still has been. And I've loved working with them over the past few months so far. I also got so many brand deals, like most I've ever had in my life. So with that, I've been able to make like the most money I've ever made in my business in a single year, which was incredible. And because of that as well, I was able to make insane strides towards my investment goal that I set for myself. And I'm on track to hit it now in a few months, which is nuts to me. I had a brand deal with Puma. Hello, like an entire content package, which is nuts. And I had amazing feedback from them, which they may or may not be wanting to work with me again. Just like putting that out there. Nuts. Like huge major company for me. Like Puma's an insane worldwide household name. Like the fact that I did a content package with them, nuts. So grateful. I discovered a new income stream. I took my first mentorship course and found a new mentorship figure. Shout out Allie Ninfo. Love her to death. I finally got inside of like a mentorship course for the first time ever. Helped me a ton. I'm honestly still working through it, going back over it, and love it. I finally understand the hype now. I randomly went viral on TikTok with a single video of hitting over 15 million views, which is a record for me. Not that it's like really about the numbers, but just like fun fact for you. I went to the Dominican Republic, England, the Netherlands, and Hawaii, and then I also went home to New York, which was one of the most memorable trips home for me like ever. I'm from upstate New York, in case you don't already know, but I live in Utah now. I got back into polymer clay, which was like a little creative hobby I used to have when I literally was like 12. I was so fixated on it back then. This is such a side note, but I posted on TikTok, and I used the word I'm hyper fixated on something. I got all this hate, whatever, saying that it was offensive because whatever. And I'm sitting here thinking that I'm like, no, guys, like I think I actually might be, because they're saying it's like a medical term, even though if you look it up, like you can use it in other contexts. Anyways, if you're offended by that, my sincere apologies, but also like there's more important, bigger fish to fry here, okay? But I'm just saying like, no, I really think I do actually get, if we want to make it clinically, like I do think I clinically get hyperfixated on things. Like looking back in my life, I get so obsessive and hyperfixated on things. Like I don't have a better word. Like I get so fixated on things. Anyways, polymer clay was one of those things where one summer I like barely went outside, and just like I still have a whole tackle box full of all of the little polymer clay charms I made when I was 12 years old. I'm not even kidding. So anyways, I kind of got back into that for a creative hobby, not nearly to the caliber that I would like to. I'm hoping this year I can actually force myself to take time away from work and like pour into that more. But that was something I was still proud of myself for, even like opening up the door. I bought more supplies, and now like I have it for whenever I'm ready. I got more into golf, random. My boyfriend's a huge golfer, so I just always love working on new things. So I loved that. I worked with my first travel company, which was a luggage company. I already said that. And then I also applied myself to some new gigs and projects this year that were super random for me, but they were kind of like side quests that I would like to get into eventually. But lately I've been so freaking busy. I'm like, I don't know if I'm going to have time for those side quests in my career, but whatever. Maybe one day I'll get into it just for the sake of it, because it would be just something fun to do at some point in my lifetime. So that was so long-winded, but again, I just hope that can serve as some inspiration of saying, like, first and foremost, that also basically majority of those things, like 85% of everything I had just said, all of that happened within the second half of 2024. So I'm also kind of just saying, like, if you've had a really bad start to this year, please don't let it dictate your whole year. Like, things can still turn around at any moment. You always have the chance to reinvent yourself. It doesn't, like, if you aren't off to a good start, that means absolutely nothing for how your year is going to go. there's still always room to pivot and things can change at any moment. So there's never a point in just throwing in the towel. Okay. So with that being said, now I want to go into what I'm actually doing to set attainable goals this year. So first and foremost, this is my biggest thing that I'm doing. I've been breaking the year up into quarters. Okay. This is my new like goal setting approach. I kind of used to just do a huge goal setting list for the whole entire year, but the year can be long. Like, and then you can just kind of lose sight of things. Then you're not really as organized and like precise in your direction because it's just like too long of a time period. So for me, I'm breaking the year up into chunks and I just focused on like Q1 goals, which is like January, February, March, what I want to achieve, and just keeping it that way. It puts it more like in a digestible size piece and it kind of makes it more manageable. Just in the sense that you can actually like, we can picture what 3 months is, what it feels like. It's much more, just digestible is the word that I want to use. I just feel like when you try to have a goal and set it over the whole 12 months, it's just so easy to get lost. Next one is to break your goals up into categories. Okay. This is going to look different for everyone just because people value different things, but I really invite you to take a second to really think about different areas of your life that you want to place energy into and like focus on and go from there. So like, for example, like again, it's going to be different for everyone because like for me, I do social media. So like each social media platform was a category for me with goal setting of like Instagram, YouTube, the podcast, etc. But it could also be like financial, personal, travel, for your hobby, relationships, mindset, family. So just break it up into different categorical sections and then go from there of like setting goals for each section and like facet of your life. I think this also just helps to keep things again more digestible, but also just more organized and more clear and also just more thorough. So you're making sure you're not leaving any stone left unturned. Next one is to, I already kind of touched on this in the beginning of the episode, but the next one is to not bite off more than you can chew. Okay. Again, I'm sure some of you guys listening can relate to like being a serial goal setter and just having all of these goals set and just like being super optimistic, which I love that for you. I do. I love being that optimistic person. I never want to be the person to be like, you can't do that, right? Like we love it. Okay. Keep that mindset. But let's just start. Let's do it this way. Let's just start, okay, with writing 3 goals like maximum per category. Realistically, 1 to 3 goals per category. And again, listen, let's say you hit those goals by like, I don't know, May, great. Then we can reset 1 to 3 more goals. You know what I'm saying? But let's just like start with those ones. Again, we're looking at this in quarters rather than the whole year. Focus on 1 to 3 goals that you can really put energy towards for this first quarter in each category. Go from there. Going to be way more likely to actually like stick with them because they're way more manageable. Next one is to focus on process goals. I love process goals. I still remember when I first learned about these, I was like, this is absolutely genius. This is like really what goal setting should come down to. And what I mean by this is that we really want to be focusing on our inputs rather than our outputs, or essentially saying we want to focus on our controllables, right? Like we can't always can control if you have made $300,000 in your sales commission or whatever it is, right? Like we can't always necessarily control our outputs, but what we can control is our inputs and what action steps we are taking. Like that's something that we can totally make sure that we hit. You know what I'm saying? So I think process goals are important and huge. Like for me, I've honestly gotten to a point where I try to almost like only set process goals now at this point. But again, if you're someone who likes to have still big visionary goals of just like, I want to get this promotion or I want to hit this many Instagram followers, or I want to, I don't know, be able to do this trick on skis, whatever it is, I totally go for it and set those bigger goals so you know your direction. But then under those big output or like result goals, I highly recommend that you go underneath those and write like 1 to 3 process goals of like what steps you're going to take to help you get to that big overall arching goal. Whoa, tongue twister. Let's say you want to be able to do a 360 on skis. Okay, great. Now let's make 1 to 3 goals of like, how are you going to get there? Maybe one goal is I'm going to go ski on the mountain and practice 4 times a week. Your second goal is I'm going to go to the trampoline park and practice my 360 on the trampoline 3 times a week, right? And those are actually like action steps you can take to get there to help make sure you actually make that bigger goal come through and into fruition. Process goals are huge. They basically take your big goal and put it into bite-sized pieces and actually ensure that you are showing up in the way that you need to help you stay in alignment and on track to hitting that goal. Next one is to be honest about what you actually feel called to pursue. This is huge. And I unfortunately also have the toxic trait to do this, where I will go to set goals. Again, I'm in my visionary headspace. I'm like, yes, skies are limit. Yes, let's do it. I'm an expansive human being. Like, I can quantum leap. I'm going to do all of it tomorrow. And again, I do love that about myself. But like, sometimes we just need to like touch some grass for a second, you know? So this one is huge. I find myself in past years thinking of anything and anything that I would just be like, that would be so cool to do. I'm going to write it down, right? Even though I don't have like a true innate soul pull, or it doesn't feel very, I don't want to say urgent, but it doesn't necessarily feel, I don't feel super passionate about pursuing it in the near future. You know what I mean? And so with those things where I'm like, yeah, that would be cool, but I don't feel that like soul urge, pull, passionate nature behind it, I'm not going to write it down. Because what happens is I end up writing them down, but I don't feel that really big soul pull to pursue them. And so then I don't actually follow through with it. And then I'm kind of like, meh, like down on myself that I didn't follow through with it. You know what I mean? So maybe write those like on the side, like maybe in like a goal library. If for whatever reason one day you're like, I don't know what goals to set or what should I work towards now, you can go to your goal library. You know what I mean? But like, I feel like overall, doing what you can to only write down what you actually feel called to pursue will just help you feel more confident in yourself, have a higher success rate, and it really will allow you to focus your energy efficiently on things you actually feel strongly about and will therefore follow through on. Okay, so that's a big one. Just be honest with yourself about what you actually feel called to pursue at this moment in time in this next few months of your life, and actually take energy to pursuing those things rather than things that just seem good in like theory, you know? And the last one is to have check-ins to revisit your goals often. This one I also think is a big one. It can tend to be overlooked. And again, I think this is another reason why I really love the concept of doing quarterly goals, because when I do a big yearly list, it's easier for me just to like get lost in the goals, because I'm like, oh, I can still do them like in the summer or whatever, and then I just kind of forget about them or just lose sight of them. So I think having that a check-in decently regularly to revisit your goals helps you to remember them, keep them at the front of your mind, helps you stay like motivated and inspired to continue to take action on them, and just helps you align with them on the daily rather than having you forget about them and just like them collect dust. I think when it comes to achieving goals, you have to really have the mindset to do so daily and to show up in a way that's in alignment with you being on track to achieve those goals. And then with that, I think it's also important to reassess when needed. You know what I mean? Like maybe you have a goal at the beginning of the year, but come May, that goal looks a little bit different or you want to tweak it. So I just think it's really important to provide perspective and direction, to continuously have those check-ins, reassess goals when you need to, and make sure that you're revisiting them often. So again, you have that direction of knowing where to go, and you can really just remember why you're doing what you're doing to give you that sense of purpose of what you're working towards. I also do have a Notion planner for this. If you guys don't know what Notion is, it's actually kind of amazing. I love it. It's basically like an online planner, essentially. It's called Notion, Notion. It's free. You can pay to upgrade it, but you can also download people's templates, and then the whole thing is set up. It's like completely basically customizable, I'm pretty sure. And there's just so many different things you can input: charts, bar graphs, pie charts, like all these different things, and like tables, calendars, just to basically organize your life. And you can like, and I have them to like write my goals in them and everything, and like track my goals. And it's also, again, like a planner for me and a calendar and a schedule. So it's like everything all in one, but I really love it because it's a way for me to see everything all at once, be able to easily revisit my goals when I want to and when I need to. And it's just great. I feel like an organized queen with it. So again, it's called Notion. It's free, and you can download people's templates if you like, but I think it's a great way to make sure your goals are staying in front of you and not getting lost, and that they're easily accessible to like check back to. So I kind of wanted to wrap up this episode with some of my 2025 goals, but I haven't really had like a very strict goal setting session really this year, because believe it or not, like I feel like I honestly feel so good right now and fulfilled. This is what I want to say. This era of my life specifically, I feel really called to work on my career and financials. That's like a really big thing for me. I'm really wanting more independence. I'm wanting more financial stability, and I'm really wanting more kind of clarity with my career direction. So that's been like the biggest area of life that I've been focusing on. And I feel so fulfilled with the things that I did accomplish last year. I feel so proud of that. And I feel, yeah, just really content with that. And some of my biggest goals, like I said, for social media kind of had been checked last year, which is crazy for me. So this year, I feel like I have some more open-ended style goals at the moment. Again, more so process goals and kind of just like intentions for mindset, just to remember to stay grounded in myself and like really make sure I'm staying close to those lessons that I learned last year. Because also, if last year taught me anything, it has like nothing, like I said in the beginning of this episode, I was placing so much value in everything outside of myself. And I just really want to remember this year to like stay true to me and stay close to me and know that like I'm the one that's giving life to my life in a way, in the sense of like I'm the one who's painting the canvas whatever colors that I want it to be. So if I don't like the color of the canvas, I need to change me. Or another analogy is like if I don't like what I'm seeing in my mirror, the reflection of my mirror, like I just need to change me. So I just want to remember that so I can remember my power and really stay rooted in that seat of co-creation with God. And yeah, that's kind of more so where I'm at for this year. But with that being said, I still did have quite a few goals that I was able to jot down in this outline to share with you. So first one is a process goal for YouTube. I really want to stay consistent with YouTube this year. I feel like last year, dude, YouTube and the podcast was just not it for me last year. Really just because it's so hard for me to want to create when I'm not feeling good. It's like just two opposite headspaces for me, but I really want to be consistent with 1 to 2 YouTube videos a week. For the podcast, I want to upload once a week, which we're doing pretty decent, okay? I think this marks 1 month of consistency. We love that. Another big one, which again, this is more so a mindset thing. I really want to post more authentically without thinking so hard and feeling like I need to be perfect all the time. That was a huge thing that helped me see success in like 2022, 2023. I just was so me. And it's so unfortunate that this is the dynamic of the internet, but it's so hard to stay open once you've received quite a bit of hate on the internet. And it's just like, yeah, it's hard and it's just, I don't like it. It's not a great dynamic, but at the end of the day, it's like I can't keep giving my power away. And I really have to find peace in maybe offending people and know that I can't possibly be responsible, because when you're in a conversation with someone, there's more context to know kind of what is appropriate. But when I'm speaking to massive amounts of people, it's impossible for me to make sure I'm speaking in the appropriate context for every single possible person that's listening to me. Like, of course, things are going to be taken out of context, and I just need to find peace with that. It's just hard when I feel, I just take a lot of pride in my character, and I never, ever, 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 ever want to be a mean person, or I never, ever want to inflict pain or sadness or putting anyone down. So it's just, that's what's hard for me, because I just feel like it's not me just being authentic in the sense of saying something and having someone make fun of my hair. Like, I literally could not care less about that. It's I struggle with being authentic and unfortunately posing the risk of offending someone in the process of hurting someone's feelings or making someone question my character. And that's why it's hard for me. But I just need to find peace in knowing that like I know who I am, and by me not allowing myself to show up authentically, I'm basically taking power away from my message, and it's also inhibiting me from connecting to people on a deeper level who are in alignment with me and who do resonate with me. So that's a big one I'm really trying to work through this year, is to post more authentically and not needing to think so hard about it and how I'm being perceived and if it's perfect. Like, I just want to be me again and not focus so much on the externals of how everyone else is posting, what are they going to think, etc. And with that, like, when I'm my most authentic self and I don't overthink how I present myself, like, I am hands down my most magnetic version. And I think that's so important, especially with what I do. So hopefully I can really embody that, but that's a huge goal for me, is really to step back into my authenticity. Maybe that should be my 2025 word. I wish we had a comment section. I would love to everyone to comment. Ooh, I have an idea of where we could have a comment section. Stay tuned. That's another goal that I had this year. But maybe authenticity should be like my 2025 word. Anyways, another goal that I have is to go on a brand trip. I think you guys heard last episode, I was talking about how Roxy had like a snow trip here in the ski town that I live near. And I'm like, would be so fun. So going on a brand trip, that would be cool. Just kind of threw that out there. These are like that. And then this next one are really the only two like new goals I feel like that I have for social media. But my second one is to work with like either a sports brand company, like a surf company or a ski company, or a travel company, like airlines, hotels, Airbnbs. I would love to work with them. That would be so freaking cool. Next one is a top secret project that I have not started, but I would love to do, and I think you guys would absolutely love it, especially the podcast community, keyword community. And I feel super called to it. I literally have had this idea since 2020. It's become more popular now, honestly, in the ways of how people create apps and stuff like that. But I have a different way that I would want to present it that I think would be really great. And again, I think it would just be such a cool way to bring the brand of Livfiit to life and in a more accessible way to everyone, no matter where you are in the world. Next goal is to run a very successful women's wellness retreat, my 4th one. We're planning one for November of this year that's launching super, super soon. I'm really hoping that goes well, everything goes through. That would be huge. Also random, but I kind of have been wanting to get into like fitness or lifestyle modeling here and there. Like nothing, like there's just so many different calibers of modeling, and like you could do like catalog shoots for like Patagonia to like rep their like quarter zips or something on their website when you go to purchase things, or like just for like fitness brands. There's just so many different lanes. So that could be something cool that I dabbled in last year, but I would like to put some more energy into this year. And then my last goal is to really just know my worth and know that this is literally all a game. It's all a mindset. Like I was saying, everyone literally is just showing up as a character of their choice. So you might as well choose your best version or the character of yourself that you've always wanted to be. I feel like that could be a whole podcast episode. That would be such a good one, of basically like designing your dream self in your coolest character and then just like emulating her every day. That's basically what manifestation is all about. But that's my biggest thing, knowing it's literally all a game. I have to know my worth and everyone else will know my worth, and just starting from the inside out. So that's another huge goal. So again, I just want to remind everyone that the year is it's a long time, right? 12 whole months. You can choose to reinvent yourself at any time. If you feel like the past month and a half has not been great for you, literally has no ounce of power over the rest of your year. Like you can truly realign at any time. So please don't get down on yourself. There's always a chance for a renewal of hope. Even if right now you're not feeling it, don't close out the possibility that you'll feel hope in June or whatever it finds you. That's what it was for me last year. I don't know if that's going to be comforting or disappointing, but you can't really always control your timeline, but just have trust and faith and remain open to things being able to shift, because I promise they really always can. Just keep trying and keep showing up. And I promise you one day you're going to be like, whoa, I've been making progress this whole time and I didn't even feel like it. So the affirmation that I have for today is I am capable of more than I can ever imagine. I am capable of more than I can ever imagine. Thank you guys so much for tuning in and listening. I hope you guys have a beautiful rest of your week. I really appreciate you guys being here. Again, if you guys do enjoy this podcast and if you are looking to support it in a way that is completely free to you, you can either give a thumbs up if you're watching on YouTube, subscribe to the YouTube channel, or you can also leave a rating and review on Spotify or Apple Podcasts as well. Subscribe to the show if you're not already. I really appreciate you guys. I'm sending you so much love, and hopefully I'll see you guys in my next epi. Peace out.